Permit me to use Benjamin Franklin's word. The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. Understandably, there are questions, concerns, and expectations as regard the recent increment in school fees, as reported by the Student Union government, which had raised reactions. Finalists, Staylight, and prospective FUNAAB were left shocked, and rightly so. This is because it's directly affected their student welfareism. Good day, I am Ordinary Ridwan, and this is Campus Radar. Today we will be discussing this issue, and to gain clarifications, I have here with me the Student Union Government Public Relations Officer. So, the vital role the PRO plays is to bridge the gap, the communication gap between the student leadership and the student populace. So, you're welcome here, Comrade Oyeka Abdurrahman. It's good to have you here, and thank you for coming. In this conversation, we'll be discussing the student concerns, the union stand, and also the steps that has been taken to engage the management, as well as the probable reliefs where possible. So, I would like to ask you, corporate, what is the this is 24.6% increment, and as regards that, just 32,000 naira increment. Can we have a breakdown?
Okay, I think we should start from the very part, from the memo aspect where I wrote. I would like to clarify that part because most people are actually tagging it as 5,000 naira was reduced from the school fees. But no, it's just more like a phrase of word by saying for every 5,000 naira that was reduced, there was agitations for it and there are explanations for them. So let's go through the breakdown of the school fees, starting from the 100 level. We would like to clarify that aspect properly, that they are not a matriculated student yet, and they don't remain a student of the student union. They are not a member of the union yet. So we can't fight for them.
Okay, let me cut in there. Sorry for cutting in. Do you mean that as a prospective FUNAAB?
Yeah, they are just prospective. The way you said it, prospective, makes them not a FUNAAB yet. So
which means that you can't fight for them.
We can't fight for them. It's more like Yoruba. Let me go to my own mother's language. Yoruba.
But this it is just under one umbrella, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me go through the normal admission process. You know, when JAMB wants to give you admission, they say accept admission or reject it. It's more like you seeing the fee and saying, can I go through it? If you can, yes, speak for now. But if you can't, then you change institution. That's it.
Okay, like the SUG due. Okay, now let me now ask you. Okay, what you're trying to say now is, when they resume, they wouldn't have to pay the SUG due, will they?
Going by the constitution of the union,
okay,
if you read it, it says number one is ordinary member of the union. Before you can become an ordinary member of the union, first you must have accepted the admission from the school.
Okay.
You must have paid your school fees. That makes you a FUNAAB. By that time, you must have done the normal matriculation oath that gives you your matriculation number. The moment you have your matriculation number, then you are a FUNAAB. So by that time, now you can now pay the dues. Do you understand?
Okay, which means that for consequent, if that is the case, let me go by this. If that is the case, why was it not also regarded in that of the 200 level, the Staylight and the finalists?
Now, to the 200 level, I would like to categorically state that there was no increment on their fee. They paid 164,950 last section.
Okay.
They are still paying 164,950.
Okay, fine.
Going to 300 level, they paid 144,950. They are paying 154,950. 10k increment. 400 level is paying 127,500. I think that's about, I don't know, I think they paid 98 last section. So that's about 30 something.
32, kind of rough 32,000 increment. My mathematics is bad, I don't know, but 30.
Yes.
over 30,000 increment is
Well,
significant.
yes, it's significant, but I would like to state something that we are, I'll just say it this way, the way I feel. We are students like you. But yes, we are the front, we are the representative. We have to represent you well enough that, okay, yeah, we went to the management and we stated all the facts that you can ever think of.
But let me cut in there. While the school fees was on the verge of being increased, were you informed?
Yes, not that kind of information that you feel, but as a union, we always have our informants.
Yes.
We'll have heard of, okay, the school is thinking of increasing the fee, and then we're trying to get what figure was going to be the proposed amount, but we couldn't get that. But we know that, okay, school wants to increase the school fees, but we're not sure yet. And then it came like an impromptu that they said we were called for a meeting, impromptu. And when we got there, we had the mindset of it can be increment or it can be another thing. But the mindset we went with was, even if it's going to be an increment, that day it's a no.
Okay.
So we went, and then it came with stories of the running of the administration, the finances, how they want to run the university, how they want to give quality education,
Okay.
conducive environment, and all. But bearing in mind that regardless of what they want to say, we were not even open for any conversation at that point. So when it was stated that, okay, so amount will be increased on the school fees, we received it, but we made them understand our standards at that moment that it was a no from us. Give us the time to actually go back to our drawing board to see, okay, is it visible to even say you want to increase school fees?
Okay.
Because Nigeria is in a kind of state whereby things are hard.
All right.
And if you look at the last administration, people had to pay 60-40. That's to show you how bad it can be. So we said no. Then we went back.
Okay, which means that it was not a sitting decision.
It was not a sitting discussion. We went back. We reached out to a lot of leaders, a lot of students that we know that, okay, yes, you can have a say. And we asked these questions that, okay, do you feel is even making sense? Not even the proposed fee. Like, do you feel is reasonable to increase fee at this time, at this point in time? And yes, we got a no as an answer throughout. Then we went back again and we told them that we are not interested in this whole increment of a thing. But this is one thing. I'll say FUNAAB Student Union has a privilege than every other institution here in South Africa. I said South Africa, South, this western part of it. Um, there's no school that will call the union to a negotiation ground. You can't do the fact checking.
We all know that it is the basic.
Yes, that's the tradition of FUNAAB.
And
Or if you go to every other western
knowing by that
institution here in Nigeria, it's not given that way.
okay, knowing by that okay, it's the tradition that the student will be given a listening ear, which is compulsory. It might not be, it might be our tradition, and it might be thrown away by schools, but it is compulsory that the students are given listening ears. That this is what we
Yes.
want to do.
Yes.
So you going back, telling them that this can't work. We know that our school fees is, when you move from one level to the other, it has been the same since last 3 sessions. That you pay the same amount you pay when you advance to another level. And now coming about,
I think I read the memo of the previous administration.
okay,
And I think it was stated there that yes, you pay whatever you enter with. Now there's nothing like the higher you go, the lesser it becomes. It's more like what you enter with,
the more
continue with
you
it.
continue with what you pay.
Most people ignore the aspect of if there's no increment, That's when you continue with what you entered. But if there's an increment, definitely you continue with what has been increased. So like this now, there's 127. If you go to the next level and there's no increment, you pay 127.
Okay, are you telling us now, with what the previous administration said, you actually worked upon, you actually accepted what the school management brought because of what the previous administration
I would
stated
like you
in
to
their memo?
rephrase that.
Like, the previous administration stated in their memo that you pay what you came in with. For
Yes.
every level you entered, you pay what you paid in the previous level, as far as there is no increment.
Yes.
And now that the school brought increment, you accepted because of what the previous administration has said. You accepted the increment.
Well,
Was that it?
accepting the increment wasn't by choice. Should I say, it wasn't by we just accepting. It was more like, if we don't accept that increment as at that time, it can come as an imposition to the student populace.
But I think,
Do you know what it means to impose a 65k increment?
but I feel that you are the student union body. And for you to have negotiated 65,000 naira to 32,000 naira, as you've stated, then there is an edge. There can be an imposition unless I feel like it cannot be imposed, since it can be negotiated.
Well,
There is no room. There
you,
is no room. If there is no room for negotiation, there will be room for imposition. And now there is room for negotiation, which means it can be beaten down lesser than 32,000.
now let me state the negotiation process. We had meetings, if I can recall very well, it should be about 6 times. Yes.
So can you give us the breakdown of those minutes?
Now the first one was a no meeting. That is,
And you went back, you said no.
so we came back again and said, we called the meeting, we scheduled the meeting for another day, and we said we went there again with a no. At least we went to the place with a no for 4 times. But bearing in mind, time is a factor within this negotiation board. The more we put it into the academic settings, the more pressure it becomes. Because by that time, what if they upload it on the student portal? So students don't listen to the union. That's one thing I would like to state. And I'll tell you, this has been a record from past administration.
But
whereby we put out
but
the
let me cut you in there. There was this administration, I think, when we got to 100 level,
the then technology administration credibility that said don't pay
school fee.
But what if I tell you, in that same administration, at least 30% pay school fees, even before the real negotiation, and then they now started applying for refund.
If we never some people paid, actually. If some people paid, but there was a negotiation even after paying.
Now that's the issue. The moment there is a payment, then you're giving an advantage to the school, because they'll tell you the students that you are fighting for, they are the ones paying.
The student they are fighting for, but we believe that even fingers are not equal.
Yes, that's why there's a negotiation. Now we've tried. I won't say, I'm not trying to take the credit, but this is something that I know that we actually beat it down from 65.
But corporate,
and we made sure that we secured 2 good slots in this part. Like I stated, the 200 level, there's no increment on it. That is one aspect. The 300 level, down from 65, we removed 55, making it 10,000 increment on the 300 level students. Okay. Now, just the 400 level and the 500 level / 600 are the one with the increment, the major impact of the increment.
But looking at it, let's consider the case of, I'm going back to that genealogy, using it as a case study.
Okay.
If people already paid and there was still negotiation, and comparing that what was it called, economy situation of Nigeria
As at then
till now, can you say we had a better Nigeria?
honestly, we had a better Nigeria back then.
Why?
Should we just use one simple thing as comparison? How much was petrol back then?
Petrol back then cannot be judged with what we have now. Why? It's because even we had lesser payment to parent at home, and I think that is what
What I mean in that part is, now there was something we call subsidy. It was not just about fuel alone. Even the university had a kind of remittance.
Yes, education are being subsidized.
Yeah, it was being subsidized, but now there's no subsidy on education.
But this, let me
make
something clear.
I'm not trying to hide the school. The school is there. I'm trying to talk from the perspective of the student now.
Okay.
Yes, we understand the difficulty in the economy. That shouldn't warrant increment. But should I ask you something? When we say we want quality education, we want a conducive environment to actually learn. And then there is a school running on its own self. That is, whatever it generates is what it's going to use in providing all these resources we are requesting for. Now, I'll give you an example. Go to the lecture halls. Can you compare them with what we have in 100 level and now?
Now, let me cut you in there. You said that those ones we are bringing now are just by the way. Let's go by what we had and what we have now.
Okay.
So what we had then, the school told us, the student union told us, the school cannot run by what the federal government is allocating to them.
Yes, sure.
That has been the story. And we believed because of what we have as a government, because of what we have as an economy,
sure,
and the policies that the government are giving to them. And that same story comes till now, that they cannot run by the government allocation. So it's just like we have the same story.
Again.
It's just that we have the same story.
It's the same story with a different line this time around. A twitch in the story.
Okay, now
but
just
I'm not going to support this school because the school is
corporate. Let me just cut you.
Putting a lot of burden on the student body now.
Let me cut you in there. We don't have a lot of time to discuss this, and just for you to just answer this, just let's move to the next level of this discussion, which is, what are the breakdowns
of the increment?
The facilities you talked about, environment, the conducive plazas, and the hostels, and every other thing, electricity. So what are the breakdown? What percentage of this increment is going into those facilities?
A major percentage is actually going to go into every of this.
Okay, are you assuring us that every of this aspect will be increased with this percentage?
Yeah, sure. But this is what I would like to say. I think it's evident enough that the school has started on this project of trying to make sure every facility meets up to the standard. As of the last month, the accreditation team was still in school to check the whole facility that is it up to standard. I think the veterinary medicine students accreditation team took it, and they had to tell them that. Now, I think they used to do one particular experiment. I don't know. The practical they used to do. If it's anatomy or something. But they had to tell them to change it to something that is up to global standards this time around.
Okay.
And then, if the school is going to change it from what they have requested to, from the normal one they used to do to what that accreditation team is saying, then increment needs to come in.
And does it have to come on all other
increment
sections of the school?
Then now they used to do one thing. They used to have charges to their school fee. That's their normal. If everybody's paying 127, vets should actually pay 147.
Oh, sure.
Now there was meant to be a proposed increment on that, and we crashed it out. And we said no to it. That whatever wants to happen, this fact that you increased the school fees and we've negotiated to this point, I don't think you need that proposed charges anymore. So scrap it out. So from the proposed one that we know that okay, that we were hearing probably around 30 to 40 that was meant to be added to the vet, is now the normal 20 again. But I'm not going to go into that details of those set of people because I think that's been a normal tradition. It's not only in FUNAAB that they had those charges.
Sure.
So yeah,
Like medical students are always
they're always different. Same thing goes to the engineering.
Okay.
I think the engineering too. There should be an uplift in the engineering system now.
Okay.
Because they have one compulsory year added to their.
Yeah, sure.
So that is how. But I want to talk about the normal, major, and
the facilities
and the facility aspect. Now,